walk-ins? Have you thought about what the reaction's going to be when you walk into?
To be honest, I don't waste too much time, thinking about the crowd. But ever since I knew I was fighting up here in Canada, the Canadians and the English have a great relationship. And last time I fought here in Montreal, the crowd were fantastic. You're very passionate about mixed martial arts up here. Just walking around, the first time I came to Toronto years ago, I couldn't believe how much interest for MMA there was up here. So Saturday night I'm hoping to get a cheer. I love coming to Canada. I love Toronto, and I'd like, normally I don't care, but on this occasion I'd like it if the Canadians cheer for me. So, obviously do what you want to do.
Any special training considerations for this fight?
I've been doing a lot of boxing. Well, to be honest, I was going to say a lot of boxing, a lot of wrestling, and a lot of jiu-jitsu, but that's what I always do, Just trying to take everything to the next level. Brady Fink is my jiu-jitsu coach. He's helped me come on leaps and bounds. Jason Prillo, my boxing coach. Again, come on leaps and bounds. My wrestling's been great. Training down at the Ultimate Training Centre in Huntington Beach. Just working hard every day. I've had a great camp. I want to thank all my coaches and training partners and all my sponsors. And, what will be, will be. I've got no excuses. I've had a great camp. I'm mentally strong. I'm physically strong. And I'm better than I've ever been. So, Brian Stan's in for a tough time Saturday night.
Michael, you said in the lead up to this fight that you feel in the past Brian Stan has been very one-dimensional. Are you expecting to see some differences out of Brian Stan, or do you expect the Brian Stan we've been watching?
Excuse me. If you watch his video footage, the countdown and any training things on Fuel TV or whatever, that he's working with a wrestling coach. I'm assuming that's for his defence, but I also notice, I can tell from certain positions that he's shot takedowns and stuff. So maybe he'll try and shoot a takedown on me. But that said, going for takedowns is very energy consuming, and if he does that, he might waste a lot of energy. So I think he may surprise me maybe by shooting for one takedown, because he knocked out Alicia Sakara with ground and pound, so maybe he fancies himself as a bit of a ground and pound artist these days. But I think once I stuff that, he'll soon forget about that and go back to his bread and butter, which is punching.
You've mentioned that your fight with Brian Stan was the real main event before John Jones and Vitor Belfort was added. How do you feel that fight's been added now?
I feel fantastic that fight's been added. When I said that my fight was the real main event, I was just trying to big my fight up. Far be it from me to discredit a UFC title fight. I was just having a bit of fun. That comment got taken totally out of context, and I was just playing around, and it hit every headline and all the rest of it. Listen, it's a UFC world title fight. It's going to be an amazing fight. And then on top of that, now we've got John Jones and Vitor Belfort, which is, I'm excited just to watch that fight. So being on the card is great. I think mine and Brian's fight is a great addition. This is, in my opinion, by far one of the strongest pay-per-views the UFC has done recently. Those three fights that I just mentioned are going to be amazing. Me and Brian are going to bring it. That's got fight of the night, fight of the year written all over it. And, all those that have got tickets, they're in for a treat Saturday night. And those who haven't, buy the pay-per-view, because, Saturday night's going down.
A lot of people, Michael, feel that with a strong victory on Saturday night, you are the best viable opponent for Anderson Silva at 185, probably his best drawing opponent as well. What are your thoughts on that? The middleweight division very much could be kind of iced for a couple of months with Anderson going up, going down, the catchweight. Would you like to see an interim title? What are your thoughts on this situation? Because you want to be fighting for this title, and it's a lot of key 185ers right now who might be just fighting right now for number 2 for a while.
Sure, you're right. That's an interesting point what you bring up about an interim title. But to be honest, I'm not interested in an interim title. For example, Carlos Condit is the interim belt. He has the label champion of the world. No, he doesn't. George St. Pierre is the ultimate champion of the world. So I'm not interested in interim titles. I want Anderson's belt. And I mean that with the greatest of respect. The UFC are a business. They've got to do what they've got to do. I, for one, would like to see GSP versus Anderson Silva after I get my shot, of course. So, yes, it's frustrating, but I've got no problem beating up a few more guys along my way to taking my title.
Now, Brian Stan's not much of a talker, so a lot of the onus has gone on you on selling the fight. Do you take pride in your ability to garner interest in your bouts?
No, I don't take pride. I mean, I've always been a loudmouth, if you want. If that's what people label me as. I suppose it's true. I'm never shy of words, but I believe in my own ability. Some people are quiet, some people are loud, some people talk a lot, some people don't. I do, and I'm confident in my ability. I'm confident in my training. I'm confident in my training camp. I've done this since I was 8 years old. I was put on this planet to beat people up. Trust me, I'm fucking good at it, right? And Saturday night, Brian Stan's going to find out.
Has it been difficult?
Pardon my language.
Has it been
Got me fired up there.
Has it been difficult to badmouth Brian Stan since he has such a good wholesome story?
No. No, listen, I've had a bit of fun with Brian. You know, I've said he's probably going to bore us all to death with some war stories at the press conference, and you know, when he was shining his boots, I was in the UFC and stuff like that. But I respect the guy. It's hard not to respect him. He's a very likeable guy. We spent some time together promoting the fight. I like Brian, you know, but Saturday night, that's out the window. When the fight's over, I'd like to share a beer with the guy, you know, and he can bore him to death at the bar.
One final question for me, Michael. I don't know if you've gotten to see the Countdown show, but the big backdrop of the War of 1812. I'm curious if you thought it and how you thought that came across. I thought it was a very unique promotion.
I watched it this morning and I thought it was great. You know, it certainly adds. It's novel. It's different. You know, it adds an interesting element. It is the 200-year anniversary of the year that England couldn't be bothered with America, and and apparently it took place a lot of it in Canada, so it kind of makes sense. You know. It isn't UK versus USA, it's Michael Bisping versus Brian Stan. It's not a team sport, it's not a national sport, but if that helps the fans generate a bit more interest, I'm all for it, you know. Listen, we all like to cheer our favourite fighter, whether it's me or Brian. Those people who tune in and watch, they're in for a hell of a fight, trust me. I know Brian's going to bring it to me. I have not got an easy job Saturday night, but neither is he. You saw me on the pads, I'm fast as lightning, I'm hitting hard, I'm focused and ready to go. And Saturday night, we're both going to bring it and it's going to be one hell of a fight.
Michael, do you enjoy the role of being the villain?
I don't know. I don't think I'm a villain. I'm giving you all time of day. You see me with the kids. You know what I mean? They call me a villain. I'm just a man of the people.
You spinning anywhere after the show?
I may be spinning at government. I've got an after party there, and I may jump on the decks for a little bit. But you know, if you want to book me, DJ Michael B. I don't come cheap though.